Thank you for visiting PianoLessonsForLife.com. My name's Greg. I'm your personal piano professor, and we're talking about simple melodies today. The reason why is one of our visitors wrote into the website and was practicing her chord inversions. And it's a good thing to do to practice your chord progressions, especially if you're a beginner, and that's the 1-4-1-5. Anyway, she asked about the melodies. The chord progressions all sound good by themselves, and they're common to a lot of songs, but what makes a song stand out is the melody. So we're going to talk about simple melodies. The reason why we're going to talk about all kinds of melodies, but this is the first in a series of lessons on melodies. And basically my experience comes from being a musician that worked and had to play a lot of popular melodies, and they have some things in common. I pulled out a recognizable melody, Ode to Joy by Beethoven, to let you know that, a melody, even though it's simple, can be serious in terms of its impact, and can be quite elegant in its simplicity. Ode to Joy really, if you take a look at it, we're just going to use two chords in the simple arrangement of it, but it starts on the third of the, we're in C obviously, the third of the scale, also the third of the chord, okay? Just keep that in mind. And it goes like this. Okay, you can see my fingers never left my hand. My hand never actually left the, I guess I call it C position. It started on the third. If you notice, it started on the third. And it ended on the tonic, or the first note of the scale. And many melodies will end, most of the time, on that tonic note. Okay? So there's some things. Now, let's take a couple of things. Another simple melodies, of course, are going to be those melodies that are easily recognizable, easily remembered by people that may not be musicians, I guess average listeners. And here's another one. Like Ode to Joy, started on the third, ended on the first, okay? Twinkle, Twinkle Little Star. Again, it ended on that tonic note. The other thing you're seeing is that most of these simple melodies just are using the first few notes of the scale, and also the chord tones. So melodies are going to be made up of scale tones or chord tones. That's a simple melody just using scale chord tones. That's a simple melody that I just made up. I don't know if it's been done before or not, but I just used the scale tone. So creating melodies requires that you try and experiment a little bit, and as you experiment, you'll see what sounds good, what sounds better, what doesn't sound so good, and of course, as in all things, repeat the good and don't repeat the bad things too. So simple melodies again are used for jingles and songs. Here's the first few notes of Always on My Mind, Willie Nelson. Again, started on the third. It's just using simple scale tones and chord tones. Okay, so simple melodies are again something that's not so hard to do. You're going to need to experiment a little bit with it. Let's just make something up here, again in the key of C. See, also melodies repeat, simple melodies repeat. Once a little phrase is repeated, it goes into the average listener's memory, with the Ode to Joy again. Repeats that same thing with a little variation too. So you can learn a lot by analyzing simple melodies, and you're going to find out the simple ones again: chord tones, scale tones, and keep it simple. So you might want to, when you're practicing your progressions, just try and pick around and make some melodies there. There's also another good, it's basically improvisation. There's another good lesson, I think it's on pentatonic scale patterns, and you can click on the link on the website and view that. That may help you with your improvisation. We're going to talk a little bit more about less than simple melodies coming up in the video series, so stop back to pianolessonsforlife.com. Visit me again. This lesson was a result of a question somebody asked, so you might want to ask me a question and help us all here to get your playing up to the level you want it. Let me know how I can help.